Kayce's Yellowstone spinoff will reveal the future of the Duttons' next generation. Warning: includes spoilers for Yellowstone's final. Kayce Dutton will lead an upcoming Yellowstone spinoff, revealing the fate of the Dutton family. Yellowstone's ending saw the rivalry between Beth and Jamie Dutton finally come to an end, following John Dutton's death. The Yellowstone Ranch was sold to Thomas Rainwater to be preserved for generations to come, sending the remaining members of the Dutton family on separate paths. Beth and Rip will have their own sequel spin-off series on Paramount+, with Kayce Dutton's spin-off, I, Marshals, airing on CBS as a procedural western. Hopefully, it will continue to explore the broader franchise story. Taylor Sheridan, the creator and writer behind the vast majority of Yellowstone and its spin-offs, is developing multiple sequels and another prequel, following the end of Yellowstone in 1923. These include the Beth/Rip series, a series centered around the 6666 Ranch in Texas, 1944, and the Madison, the last of which is the furthest along in development. That means 4 TV shows set in the present day, following the sale of the Dutton Ranch, though Kayce's spin-off will be the closest to home, given that his house was a part of the original land. One of the most fascinating scenes in Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2, saw Kayce Dutton speak to Tate about the ranch's future. Kayce offered to fight for the ranch if his son wanted it, explaining that he had no personal ambition, pride, or desire to hold that land. In a moment of profound maturity demonstrated by Tate, the teenage boy explained that he shared his father's temperament and had no wish to fulfill the family legacy, spending his life fighting tooth and nail to protect the valley. Tate suffered through multiple kidnappings and was a witness to several violent events during the course of Yellowstone's run. Tate suffered through multiple kidnappings and was a witness to several violent events during the course of Yellowstone's run. He's experienced more than any child should, and this will undoubtedly affect how he develops into a young man during the new sequel series. Fatherhood will have to remain a prominent piece of Kayce's life, and this is the most fascinating element of the show, as it ties to the central themes of Sheridan's franchise, exploring how the American dream the Duttons once sought has been passed down through generations. On the Dutton family tree, at least beginning with 1883's James Dutton, Tate is a 6th-generation member of his family. From James to Spencer to John Todd to John I.E., the Dutton legacy has been a crucial factor in the lives of the family patriarchs. Each man was brought up with the sole purpose of defending that land, hoping to protect that dream. Kevin Costner's John Dutton II claimed he protected the ranch to preserve the natural landflow, but it was also evidently attached to his personal pride, and he was willing to commit acts of evil to maintain power. Tate takes after his father, making him the first male in the Dutton line to be raced away from the cycle that brought many of his ancestors and countless others to untimely deaths. The Duttons have been raised to demonstrate outward strength, and while Kayce is undoubtedly strong, he is so in a more reserved, kind-natured sense. Tate takes after his father, making him the first male in the Dutton line to be raised away from the cycle that brought many of his ancestors and countless others to untimely deaths. In terms of the broader scope of what the Yellowstone franchise is all about, it's on Tate's shoulders to redefine what it means to be a Dutton in the modern era. The Dutton men have been defined by strength for multiple generations, and while Tate can continue to preserve his family's legacy, he can do so in a more modern way. Rather than being bullheaded or violent, Tate can demonstrate what it means to be strong and respected through other means. If his childhood has taught him anything, it's that the way the Duttons have lived for generations of Yellowstone shows has led to almost nothing but pain and suffering. As the dust settles on the legacy of Yellowstone, a new chapter rises with quiet thunder on the Montana horizon. The Dutton name, bloodied but unbroken, is poised for continuation, this time through the eyes of its most tortured and complex heir, Kayce Dutton. In a long-anticipated spinoff, tentatively titled Dutton Frontier, fans will finally witness what becomes of the family dynasty after the chaos of the mainline series. But this won't be a mere continuation. It will be a reckoning, a rebirth, and Kayce is the reluctant patriarch at its center. The return of the quiet cowboy. Kayce Dutton, Luke Grimes, the youngest son of John Dutton, always straddled two worlds: his duty to the ranch and his deep desire to protect his own young family. For much of Yellowstone, he was a man torn between his past as a Navy SEAL and his heritage as a Dutton, between the brutal codes of his father and the spiritual path hinted at in his vision quests. But in Dutton Frontier, we find Kayce not just balancing these worlds, he's forging a new one. The spinoff picks up several years after the events of Yellowstone's finale. Montana has changed. Developers have moved in like wolves, climate shifts threaten the lands, and the political landscape is even more treacherous than before. Amidst it all, Kayce has become the new head of the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch, but not in the way John Dutton ever imagined. Kayce leads differently. Gone are the iron fists and cold silences of his father. Kayce rules with a heavy heart and a deep understanding of the cost of legacy. He sees the land not just as property, but as sacred, and his guiding principle: to ensure that the Dutton legacy doesn't just survive, but evolves. Tate Dutton, the next generation. Central to the spinoff's emotional core is Tate Dutton, now a teenager with all the curiosity, quiet strength, and fire of both his parents. Viewers who remember young Tate's trauma, from kidnappings to near-death experiences, will see how deeply those scars shaped him. Tate isn't just the Dutton heir apparent, he's the symbol of a new kind of leadership. Dutton Frontier explores Tate's coming of age as he's mentored by Kayce, Monica, and even the memory of his grandfather John. Where Kayce once walked the blurred lines of violence and morality, Tate begins to question whether the land can truly be preserved without bloodshed. His journey is not about domination, but stewardship. Not survival, but transformation. There's also a quiet tension brewing in Tate, a growing interest in native traditions and his mother's people. He begins spending more time on the reservation, seeking answers that the Duttons never provided. This dual identity makes him a potential bridge, or a future battleground, between two ways of life. New blood, new battles. The show won't only be about Kayce and Tate. In true Yellowstone fashion, new characters arrive to challenge the Duttons at every turn. Enter Cassidy Rivers, a sharp, idealistic rancher-turned-senator who sees Kayce as both ally and obstacle. Her agenda: to redistribute land ownership across Montana and end generational monopolies, Duttons included. Her shared history with Monica and complex past with Kayce only fuel the fire. Then there's Colt, a mysterious young drifter who shows up at the ranch, claiming to be Jamie Dutton's illegitimate son. Whether his motives are pure or poisonous remains unclear, but his presence forces Kayce to revisit the Duttons' darkest secrets and threatens to splinter what's left of the family's unity. Also in the mix is Clara Dutton, Beth's adopted daughter, now a powerful businesswoman with ambitions of turning parts of the Dutton empire into a sustainable venture capital firm. She brings with her a modern worldview, ready to pit technology against tradition. Clara believes the future of Montana lies in solar panels and ecotourism. Kayce isn't so sure. Spiritual reckonings and the land's voice. Where Yellowstone was gritty and often lawless, Dutton Frontier infuses mysticism and nature's rhythms into the storytelling. The land is not just a backdrop, it's a living, breathing force. Kayce continues to have visions, ones that grow more vivid and disturbing. Spirit animals, warnings from the ancestors, and omens in the wind all weave through the Spinoff's narrative. In one powerful arc, Kayce returns to the broken cliffside, where his vision quest once ended, seeking answers about the path he's chosen. Is he walking toward salvation or annihilation? Monica, meanwhile, steps more fully into a leadership role among her tribe, guiding Tate as he balances two bloodlines. Her growing power, spiritual and political, gives the series a potent female core and challenges patriarchal traditions within both worlds. The Dutton legacy, rewritten, not repeated.